All right, hello and welcome everybody to the Sparrow and Starfish student orientation. Yay, March advanced classes, woohoo! As I had mentioned while we were waiting and getting signed on, we do have about 10 or 12 students that are going to be new to us, new to the Code the Dream program, joining these March classes. And then the remainder of you we've seen before, so welcome back. It's been a couple months since we saw you in the intro class that finished in December. And we're so excited to have you all here. We hope you have a great learning experience. Feel free to reach out to me if there's any questions that you have along the way, or if you need anything. I am the class coordinator with Code the Dream, so that's my job, is to make sure that students have the support that they need and the resources they need to be able to be successful in our programs. So feel free to either reach me on Slack, which we'll talk about that if you're not familiar with Slack already. We'll talk about that as we cover the tools that we use for the class. And you can also email me too, if that's easier. All right, I'm going to share my screen and we'll get this party started. Okay. Can everybody see that okay? Feel free to just throw up a reaction quick if you can see it. All right, looks like we're good. Okay, so as I mentioned, Sparrow Starfish Intro to Programming Student Orientation. A lot of you have already shared your name, pronouns, location in the chat, but if you haven't yet, feel free to go ahead and put that up there now. I'm glad that a lot of you got your shirts. If you haven't gotten your shirt yet, we'll be getting another round of them out. I think in a couple of weeks is when Lori's going to be organizing and getting that squared away. For those of you that are new, when we asked about your t-shirt information on the student acceptance form, we were asking so we could send you a Code the Dream t-shirt. So you have something to look forward to besides all of the learning that you'll be doing. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is just break out into small breakout rooms, just so that you all can get to know each other. And again, you can leave your cameras off if you're more comfortable doing that, but you will want to unmute when you're in your rooms, so that way you can introduce yourself, and I'll have a little prompt so that way you know what to share. But basically, we'll just be asking for share your name, your pronouns, location. If you're taking the React Sparrow class, or if you're taking the Ruby on Rails Starfish class, you can talk a little bit about if you've got coding experience and what that is, or how you heard about us and joined us if you're new to us. And then to break the ice, just a hobby or an interest that you have. So I'm going to go ahead and find my menu again and start getting you split up into breakout rooms. Okie dokie. Sorry, it always takes me a minute to find where all of it goes. But after we do our breakout rooms, we're going to go over the organization information and structure for anybody that's new to us. We'll talk about just the class, sort of the path as far as the course you take through our programs, curriculum, tools, all of that good stuff. And then after a short break, so that way people can have a restroom break or get something to drink, then we'll come back in and you'll have more of like a class preview where you'll actually get to see the sites and the tools, find out where all of those things that you'll be using throughout the class are located. We'll talk about our Code the Dream culture, and then go over any helpful tips and next steps that you'll need to know for the class. And then of course, we'll have a question and answer section at the end, but you can also interrupt with questions too if need be. So let me pause our recording. Okay, so back from your breakout rooms. For those of you that are new to us, then we just want to give you a little blurb about what our organization is like and how we're structured, so that way you're familiar with us. So our mission statement is to create opportunities that change lives, build technology that benefits our communities, and support diversity that drives a more just and innovative world. And we do that in a couple of ways. So we're creating opportunities for students. These classes are free thanks to grants and fundraising. And because you all are awesome with great diverse backgrounds, then we're by educating you in this process and then bringing you into the tech fold, so to speak, then we're supporting diversity to drive innovation. And the tech that our labs side does, our dev shop side does, are sites and apps that help our community in some way, shape, or form. So we've had projects that have helped with victims of domestic abuse. We've had a resource app for migrant workers. We've had an app that sort of like scrapes information from all the government databases for bills that are going to be passed into laws, so that way people can make informed decisions in their government. So lots of cool things there. If you're curious about the stuff that our dev shop is building, you can go to codethedream.org/portfolio to be able to see what our dev shop is building, in case you're curious. So as I had mentioned, we've got the lab side and the school side. You're in the school side, obviously, because we're doing our student orientation. And then the lab side is where a small group of students that graduate through our program can be brought on as apprentices for the projects that we're working on, that we're building in the development shop side, to be able to get real world experience through these paid apprenticeships. And that way it makes you that much more marketable for the job search that you all will be doing at some point in time. So the general class path, you all have already done your application, done your pre-work, or you've made your way through the program, the intro program that we offer, and you're now at your advanced class portion. So for the Ruby on Rails class and the React class, you'll be digging a little bit deeper into those frameworks, into those languages, to be able to prepare for an entry-level position, like an internship or junior developer position by the time you're done with your advanced class and the practicum that'll immediately follow your advanced class. The practicum portion is small group exercises for you to be able to work on sort of team building and learn how you're going to collaborate to be able to get multiple people's code working together, since it'll be multiple people working together on a single project. Throughout the course, we offer professional and personal growth opportunities, which I want to go ahead and mention it now while I'm thinking about it for any of you that have been with us before in classes. And for those of you that are new, I'm going to try and have you added to our Slack channels by Friday, because Friday at noon Eastern, we're going to be doing a skillet. So Red Hat, it's a major tech company that has a headquarters here in the Triangle in North Carolina. We'll be doing a presentation about their company, the job openings that they have available. They'll talk about what a technical interview looks like with them and give a lot of good information. So please, if you're available noon this Friday, the 11th, feel free to join that. We'll have the link up in those Slack channels. But there'll be opportunities like that throughout the course. And then the mindset curriculum, which I believe the STAR class has not had yet. I don't think you all had this in with your intro class. But it is a portion that kind of helps you start thinking like a programmer. So it talks just about general debugging ideas and problem solving skills, things that aren't necessarily tech or language specific. They're just things that all programmers sort of have in common, and skills that will help make you a stronger programmer. So we have the mindset curriculum that kind of runs parallel to your actual tech curriculum. Once the advanced class is done, you can either apply for the apprenticeship at that point, or you can choose to complete the practicum, which is the group work at the end of the class, and then apply for the apprenticeship after the practicum portion. We only take on a small percentage of students, just because usually our apprentices are with us for at least a year, and it depends on what projects the development shop side has taken on from new clients, and where students have kind of graduated on to jobs outside of Code the Dream, where we have gaps that need to be filled. So it really just depends on what we have going project-wise at the time, as far as how many students we can bring on. On average, it's like about 4 students each time we have a period where we're accepting applications for the apprenticeship role. But we do have Job Seekers Toolkit. Feel free to use that throughout the course if you're wanting to kind of get more information about how to set up your LinkedIn, work on your resume, anything like that. We also have, I think, like some mock technical interview information on that site as well. But it's at learn.codethedream.org. And then in the main navigation bar, it just says Job Seekers Toolkit. So feel free to use that at any point throughout the course, or once you've completed the course, then that's a useful tool that you can all take a look at as well. So classes, we've already done the applications and the pre-work, or you've already done your intro final project, or you've already done a final project in another advanced class, and you're coming into the opposite advanced class of what you just completed. So that part's over. We are embarking on the classes portion. Those of you who have been with us in another class before, this will look very familiar, as far as we have instructional materials, which will be tutorials that you work alongside, videos that you watch. For the React class, it's a textbook that you'll read, a digital textbook that you'll read. with some videos to kind of supplement. Assignments, both your coding and your mindset assignments, mentor sessions where you'll be able to meet synchronously live on a Zoom call with a developer to be able to get any assistance or help or clarification that you need on lessons and assignments throughout the course. We recommend that you attend 2 mentor sessions a week. Community, most of our conversations happen on Slack, which is a software program for us to be able to communicate through. You'll be put into channels for your classes so that way you'll already be grouped with the students and the mentors that are in your class, but you can also direct message on Slack to other students or to mentors or to me if you need anything. So feel free to use that for community basis. But if you also want to start like a Discord or something together, if a couple of you are all in a local area and you want to meet for coffee, whatever you want to do, we encourage building community however and wherever you'd like to do that. And then the final project and practicum portion for the React class, you'll be building your final project from week 1 throughout the course. And by the end of the course, then everything that you've built throughout the course will be your final project. For the Ruby on Rails class, you'll be learning a lot of module sections as far as like SQL, Ruby, Rails, bootstrapping, things like that. And then the final 3 to 4 weeks is when you'll really be focused on building out your project at that point. And then once classes are done, either apprenticeship or software development job. Once you reach that software development job, whether you have a detour through our apprenticeship or not, then we ask that you just pay it forward. So either take on projects that will benefit your community and help kind of reach our goals and our values. You can donate your time to us back as a assignment reviewer or as a mentor. Or if you've landed a job with a really amazing salary, which we all hope that you do, feel free to donate a portion of it back through the alumni group. We always send out fundraiser notices and you can either sign up for a monthly donation or a one-time donation. But the donations, fundraising, and grant is how we're able to offer these classes for free. So if you can pay it forward to somebody else that's following in your footsteps, we appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about who all of you are. You might even see some of your faces on this, I think, or actually, no, this is from the January intro class that just started for the photos. So you won't see familiar faces yet, except for I think 4 of those intro students were able to make it into this March advanced class coming up. So for our React class, there's going to be 27 plus students. I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple that it was unsure if they're going to be able to join us or not. For the Starfish class, it'll be 13 plus students joining us. Both classes have 92% people of color. 52% of Sparrow are women and non-binary. 76% of Starfish are women and non-binary. 100% are low income. So we understand and appreciate the kind of struggles that y'all might be going through. If you need any resources at all, you know, you've got an inconsistent internet connection or you need help finding an inexpensive replacement for your machine or anything like that, then please reach out to us so that way we can contact our resources and help get you anything that you might need. Average age is 34-33 for Sparrow and Starfish. Our youngest member is 18 and our oldest is 56. And you're spread out across 6 states throughout the United States. And then we also have 1 international student in the Sparrow class so far and 3 international students in the Starfish class so far. So you might be on different time zones, just be patient with each other and try and find common times. If you do want to meet together for study groups, then feel free to just kind of communicate with each other as far as which time zone you're in if needed. All right, so let's dig into the parts of the class a little bit more. We talked about lesson materials for Ruby on Rails. You'll be using Treehouse again for those of you who have used it before with our classes. And they usually have tutorial video modules that you watch and or you can read the transcripts for. And then you have little segments where you'll do some coding or building and then like little comprehension quizzes kind of scattered throughout. For the React class, it's going to be the Road to React text by Robin Wyrick. We'll be providing you with a coupon code so that way you have access to this for free. You can either use it in the web browser to be able to read it, or he also has like EPUB, Mobi, and PDF versions of it that you can download. So if you'd prefer to have something a little more mobile or offline, then you can always access the text that way as well. Everybody will have mindset curriculum prompts, which are usually just light reading or a short video to watch on a particular concept. And then for the assignment portions for those, so you'll have coding assignments, based off of your Treehouse and Road to React text lessons. And then you'll have mindset assignments, which are just like journal type questions to kind of get you thinking about things. Any alumni that have already done mindset portions in the other advanced class, if you're coming from one advanced class to the other, we have a different submission format for that. You're not going to have to put it in a Slack channel like we did before. We were able to kind of marry Squibby and Slack together into a web form. So I'll be showing you what that looks like after our break so you can get a visual of what that new submission process looks like for your assignments. Mentor sessions, 2+ per week. You can either do a one-on-one session if there are by appointment only mentors available with your class, or you can do the group sessions, which are scheduled sessions throughout the week. They vary. Thank you for sharing your availability on the form. I've been able to pass that along to the mentors that are volunteering for your classes. So that way they know sort of where the blocks of time are throughout the week that the majority of you need. And then they also know of any kind of outliers if you're in a different time zone. I adjusted it to Eastern so that way they can kind of have a gauge and hopefully accommodate that. If anybody is finding that there are mentor sessions that are not available to them, then please contact me because I need to be able to build a workaround so that way you have mentoring available to you, because that is an important part of the class to be able to have somebody live that you can ask questions to. Community, I'd mentioned Slack channels, but you can do other avenues too. Share each other's email and chat that way, use Discord, whatever feels comfortable to you all is perfectly fine. And then the final projects for Ruby on Rails, the final 3 to 4 weeks, as I had mentioned, and React throughout the course, you'll be building that final project. And then you won't have any new assignments the final week of your class. You'll just focus on doing any kind of refactoring, cleaning up code, making any little tweaks and changes that you want to your project, that kind of a thing. Or trying stretch goals. That's always a good one too. If you've taken a class with us before, then you know we do presentation nights at the end. If you have not, then at the end of the 17 weeks where you're doing individual coursework, then we do presentation nights. Usually it's 1 or 2, depending on how many of you are going to be presenting a final project. And it's just 3 to 5 minutes long. You hop on a Zoom call like this and you just kind of give us a demo of what it was that you built throughout the course or what your final project was, so we can see how it works and praise you for all of your hard work and be enamored by your genius. So we'll see those presentation nights at the end. And then the practicum, we'll cover a little bit more about it later, both in this as well as in your class. We'll give you sort of an information session, probably about 2/3 the way through the class, just to be able to answer any questions you have about that process. But it's a really great experience, and it's primarily focused on giving you more experience with your tech stack, as well as introducing you to what it's like working on a development team. Any questions so far? I know I've blown through a whole lot of information in the past like 10 minutes. So if you have questions, feel free to toss them in the chat or unmute quick and interrupt me, or put up a reaction if you want to. Any of those are perfectly fine. I need to put you all in gallery mode so I can see if you do any reactions. Okay, Grace is good. Nice. All right. Okay, well, we'll keep on trucking. If you have any questions, like I said, just fire them out there. So the curriculum, Sparrow, you are going to be learning React fundamentals, project setup, so how to get a React app up and running, because it does have a lot of awesome library stuff already built into it, and then you kind of manipulate from there. You'll talk about router and class components, React styling, maintenance and testing, and then sorting, searching, and pagination. So when you pull all of that data from an API into your React app, then how to be able to kind of parse all of that out in a friendly format for your user. We'll do an overview of deployment, but you aren't actually going to deploy unless you do a stretch goal. You're not actually going to deploy your project in the React class because it involves your API key, and we haven't really come up with a good solution of keeping that private API key hidden for good internet security purposes without needing to teach you like a 4-week module on security. So you'll build your project and you'll run it locally and you'll demonstrate it that way. If you feel like doing a stretch goal to deploy it, you're welcome to do that. For the Starfish class, you're going to be learning SQL basics, Ruby fundamentals, including testing with RSpec, Rails basics, active record associations and testing with that, Bootstrap usage within Rails, so that way you have a quick, easy front end setup for your Ruby backend, APIs and Swagger, so how to make sure that that data is passed correctly to whatever front end is in play, and then calling APIs using Ajax. So that's kind of what you'll be doing as an overview for your class curriculum. Questions so far? Good, okay. All right, class tools. There are a lot of tools to the class. So it's a lot to get used to. Feel free as you're getting yourself set up this week until class starts on the 16th to bookmark any pages that are helpful or keep a little folder on your desktop, whatever is useful to you. The website is learn.codethedream.org, and then you'll select either Sparrow or Starfish. Since we're in 2022, I think they're described as orange Sparrow, orange Starfish. We just use colors to help us keep track of which cohorts start which year. Student resources, learn.codethedream.org/student resources. That just has helpful information as far as like get cheat sheets for push, pulls, merges, those kind of things. I think it has information as far as like how to submit, but that might be old. I might need to update that. And just other, helpful tips and guides, reminders of JavaScript structure, those kind of things. So feel free to look through any of that if you feel that you need or want to throughout the course. Everybody should have a GitHub account already. If you don't, you'll need to go ahead and establish one because all of your coding assignment portion will be done through GitHub. In both of the classes, basically, you either fork a repository, work on it for your own copy, and then just push that work back up to your own copy of it and submit the changes that you did within your own repository. I think the React class, you actually start it all from scratch. I don't think you wind up having to fork anything. You just refer to our repository for information about what the assignments are. Team Treehouse, if you had an account already and it's been deactivated because it's been a while since you've been in class, we'll be reactivating those this week to be able to get you back in there and to change you to the lesson track that you'll need for Ruby on Rails. Road to React will be getting that coupon code out on Slack and or email, so that way you'll be able to access that text and get that ready. Squibby 2.0 is the new web form. So you're not going to need to use Slack Squibby anymore for any submissions. It's all just a very straightforward web form. It's a link that you click, you go to a web page that has a form document on there, and you just plug in your pull request link, questions you have, feedback about the assignments. We've kind of beefed it up a little bit more because we'd like more data from you as far as if our assignments and lessons are balanced well or not. So feel free to fill out that information. There are a couple of items on there that are required for you to fill out, and then some of them are optional. So just fill that out and hit submit, and then you're good to go. Slack channels for announcements and discussion. So the announcements channel will let you know on Wednesdays what your lesson is for the week. It'll give you a link to your lesson. Mondays and Wednesdays, you'll have links sent out on that announcements channel for your mentor session sign up sheet. And then if there's anything else applicable throughout the course, like that Red Hat skillet that we're having on Friday, then that will be posted in your announcements channel as well. Or if we're like closed for an upcoming holiday, or if you'll have time off for a holiday or anything like that, then all of that'll be in announcements. Discussion is where you'll want to post any questions that you have. So as you're working through the material, if you're either hitting blockers, running into issues, setting up your environment, especially this week as you're kind of getting prepped and ready for class, then feel free to reach out to discussion channel on there. I will try and get everybody set up sooner rather than later in those Slack discussion channels so that it's easy for you to be able to reach out to mentors and to each other if you're running into any problems setting up your environments. And Google Sheets, same format as before for mentor session sign up. For those of you that are new, it's just a Google Sheets document. It lists mentors' name and their times for when their sessions are and the days of the week on just like an Excel spreadsheet, basically. And you'll just sign up with your name underneath which session you're intending to participate in. That link goes out on Mondays and Wednesdays, as I had mentioned. And then Zoom, how we're meeting now is how you'll wind up meeting for your mentor sessions. Same link for every session, so it's not going to be like a new code that you have to find, and that link is pinned to your channel and it's available in the spreadsheet as well. So there's a couple places you can go to be able to link into your mentor sessions when it's time for those. Questions about anything so far?
This is Marissa. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Marissa.
So I just took the last intro class. Is it a completely new set of mentors? I was wondering if any were
I'm trying to remember if any of the mentors that y'all have for the advanced classes came from the STAR intro class. I can't remember off the top of my head. You will probably see a number of new faces, but you might see a familiar one here or there, but there are probably going to be more new faces than familiar faces for your mentors. Yeah, great question.
Thank you.
Any other questions out there at all? Okay. All right, so roles and expectations. Code the dreams portion in all of this is to be able to set up your curriculum, videos, assignments. If you find typos or unclear instructions in your assignments, feel free to leave that feedback when you submit your assignment for the week. So that way I can take that to the curriculum building team and they can take a look and get things fixed. If it's something that's hindering you from being able to complete your assignment, then let me know once you stumble upon it. So that way we can answer your question, address it, get it fixed before you have to submit your assignment. We communicate with mentors and students about any kind of timeline for your class, assignments, materials, all that good stuff. We create any supplemental learning materials. So for the React class, then you'll see some videos on there with Jared, one of our longtime volunteers and awesome mentor, that kind of walks you through the road to React text in a more visual format for the first several weeks, just to kind of get you comfortable with the setup and the layout of React. And then we also have some YouTube videos attached in there as well for people who need a little bit more visual supplementation to that textbook. We design and assess our practicums and the final project requirements. We track your progress to make sure that everything's coming along well for you. And then we determine based on your progress if you're ready for the next step in our program, whether that's taking another advanced class, participating in the practicum, applying for the apprenticeship, whether or not you make it in, all of that kind of information. For the mentors, so each mentor is going to host a minimum of 1 hour-long mentor session per week, and they will take attendance to make sure that we're tracking who has participated. But in your assignment submission now, you also will mark down whose sessions you've attended, if you've attended sessions, and how many, like who they were with, kind of a thing. They'll let us know if there's any kind of changes to their schedule. So you may see cancellations or you may see rescheduled mentor sessions. Most of our mentors do have 9 to 5-ish, or, depending on what time zone they're in, 9 to 5-ish developer jobs. So that can sometimes affect their mentor session. So if something's going on at work and they have to run late for meetings, then they may have to reschedule. Anytime they have to cancel or reschedule, you should see it in announcements and or discussion channels for your class. And they'll just let you know, hey, I'm sorry, guys, I have to cancel tonight, but I'm available for one-on-ones, or I'm going to reschedule it to Tuesday at 6 p.m. or, whatever the situation is like that. So if you have a session that gets canceled on you, then just take a look at the mentor session sign up sheet to either sign up for another or to contact a by appointment only mentor to be able to set up time that will work for you. General rule of thumb, if you are attending a mentor session and the mentor isn't on the call, then we ask you to wait about 15 minutes. Definitely message them in the early stage of that to be like, hey, we're here, where are you? Because everybody's human. Sometimes they just forget that they had that on their schedule. So message them in Slack, let them know that you're waiting on them. If it's been 15 minutes and they still haven't shown, then you have a couple of options. Either you all can stay on the call together and kind of turn it into a study group session, which is what we encourage you to do, to kind of help each other out, work through problems, see if you can't kind of, go ahead. Oh, okay. See if you can't get clarification about things from each other, or kind of work through it together. It's a good collaboration experience to do that. Or you can just hop off the call, let somebody let me know, hey, they didn't show up for their session. That way I can follow up with them and find out what's going on. So I think that covers mentor sessions. Let's see here. And then they're there to be able to answer questions. So your mentor sessions, bring any questions you have from the lesson materials with you, and they can answer that information for you. Sometimes you can ask questions outside of the realm of lessons too, like what's a technical interview like? How did you get your start? Where's a good resource for me to find jobs? What's the most popular tech stack? I don't know, whatever you want to ask technology wise, you're welcome to ask your mentors. That's what they're here for. They are here to support you in your learning. All right, so what do we expect of you all? We want to make sure that you're covering your learning materials each week, whether that's the videos, coding alongside, reading tutorials, reading text, anything like that, because that is the primary resource for the topics that you'll be learning each week. The mentor sessions aren't going to be structured, outlined, like, let me lecture at you for an hour kind of a situation. They're really just there to be able to answer the questions that you have from having gone through the material yourself. Complete your coding assignments and your mindset responses each week. I know for a lot of folks, you may have, with everything going on in Eastern Europe, there might be circumstances that it's difficult for you to be able to accomplish what you need to because of all of the stress and strain that might be added to your life from those events. So if you need a little bit of an extension on due dates, feel free to let me know. If you have any kind of like illnesses in your family that come up or something, then that's perfectly fine. Like we do have days for when your assignments are due, but we also know life gets in the way sometimes. We just want to make sure that you don't lose traction, or you know, you get behind a week and you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to give up because I'm behind a week. We don't want that for you. Just talk to us as far as like where you're at, what you think you can do, or what you think you'll be able to do, so we can kind of route the best course for you to be able to stay on track with your learning and accomplish what you want to from a professional and career perspective. Attend your mentor sessions each week, and we want you to foster a supportive, encouraging, and helpful environment. So be very respectful of each other. You might be coming in with different experience levels, different experience in different technologies. So just be patient with one another, cooperate with one another. Understand and appreciate that we're all from different backgrounds. So something that might have been a very commonplace experience for you might not have been for somebody else. So just really keep an open mind and be very welcoming, and start learning that sort of professional, respectful attitude that's important in a workplace. Start practicing that now with your classmates and your peers. We expect classes will be about 15 to 20 hours of work each week. So kind of keep that in mind, that that'll be sort of the amount of time that you need to carve out each week for your work. So an example of what a class flow work week would look like for you: Wednesday is when new assignments are posted. So your class weeks run Wednesday to Tuesday, which is a little weird since most schools do Monday through Friday. But we know a lot of you have more time on the weekends than you do during the week from work and family commitments and whatever. So we do Wednesday to Tuesday. So Wednesday, you want to go ahead and read any announcements, look over your lesson, kind of prep yourself. Thursday through Sunday, start digging in, go through your lesson materials, maybe start taking a look at that assignment that you have. Monday, be sure that you're reading any announcements that are posted there. Continue work on or finish up your lesson and assignments. And then Tuesday, give your assignments a final look over, submit your work. Throughout the week, attend 2 mentor sessions when it works for your schedule. Post in discussion if you have any questions, run into any problems. So that way, either you all can help each other out with, oh yeah, I ran into that problem too. Here's what I looked up and found, and this was really helpful to me. Or mentors also maybe answering posts that you put in the discussion channel there. Questions so far? Okay, nice. All right, well then let's take a little 5-minute break. Get up, stretch your legs, stretch your arms, grab something to drink, visit the restroom, and we will get back here at 7:50. Okay, welcome back from your break. So we're going to dig a little deeper into all these bits and pieces. It might feel a little redundant for some of you that have been in an advanced class before and or been in our classes before, but I still like to cover it anyway, just in case there's been anything that's changed, then everybody gets familiar with it. All right. So we've got materials, assignment, session, community, final project, and practicum. Again, learn.codethedream.org/ and then select your class will be the website that you'll go to for like your course calendar to see the outline of what lessons you're learning, which weeks. And you do have start and end dates on those calendars to show you when those weeks start and stop. And then Team Treehouse and Road to React are your resources for your lesson materials. There are links to the Team Treehouse lessons in your lesson pages on your class website for Ruby on Rails for the Starfish class. But Road to React, there aren't links directly to those particular sections since you log in to be able to access the text. But we outline like it'll be the fundamental section and then this particular chapter. So that'll cover that. Are we going to get a recap email? Oh, you mean like for Nadia, you mean a recording of this session? Will I be emailing it out?
Not necessarily the recordings, but the resources you're providing.
Oh, so it won't be an email, but you'll get a Slack invite if you aren't already on our Slack workspace. And I'll show you what that looks like. And then pinned to the top of your Slack channel is where you'll have all of these links, as far as like link to Treehouse, link to your class website, link to your Zoom mentor sessions, link to your session sign up sheet. All of that stuff will be all in one spot, easy to find on your Slack channel.
So we will be getting the Slack link after this meeting.
Yes, yeah. Between now and Saturday night, I should be able to have anybody that's new set up in the Slack workspace. So just keep an eye on the email that you provided us with, and you'll see an invitation from Slack to then be able to create your profile. Oh, one tip about Slack, it's helpful to put your class name in parentheses somewhere in your display name when you're setting up your profile, because it just saves me time that if you ask me a question, I don't have to be like, wait, which class are they in again now? Especially since so many of you are in multiple classes with us throughout our experience together.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. All right, so materials for the Starfish class, your main class website, Team Treehouse. If you're new to us, then you'll probably receive an invite this week. Otherwise, you'll just have your old account reactivated. I don't think you need to do anything with the reactivation, but if you try to sign in to Team Treehouse and you can't, then let me know. I might have to do like a password reset on the admin side or something like that. So just test out either early in your first week, 16th, 17th of March, or between now and the 16th, then test it out and see if you can still sign into Treehouse and access things. You do not need to provide any credit card information. So for those of you that are new to Treehouse, you have the option through Treehouse to like purchase lessons if you're just using Treehouse on your own, but we have an account with them to be able to provide it free for all of our students. Like we pay them on your behalf. So you should not have to do any kind of like entering in your card information or anything like that to set up Treehouse. So just be aware, you don't need to fill out any credit card information whatsoever. You'll already be assigned your lessons, so your tracks will be there on your dashboard for you to be able to follow through the tracks for your class. And then, like I had said, the links on the learn.codethedream.org website will link you to the particular lesson that you need to watch in Treehouse for the week. But feel free to like poke around and see if there are other lessons or topics that you want to take a look at. I know Treehouse had a major layoff early in 2021. So if you prefer to download their material, you can download it and keep it locally. Don't spread it, like don't, post it on YouTube or TikTok or whatever else people post on anymore these days. But you can keep a personal copy of it for yourself. And I can let you know like where to find that and how to go about either downloading the transcripts and or downloading the videos if you need or want to. Your progress is recorded through Treehouse. We monitor that just to make sure that you're kind of staying on track. So just be aware. And you'll have access to Team Treehouse for up to a month following the end of class. So your class ends roughly July 12th. And so you'll have until August 12th that if you still want to access things afterwards to refresh your memory on it or to download those files or whatever, then you're welcome to do that. For the Sparrow class, learn.codethedream.org, and then your class has all of your course information. Road to React by Robin Warwick. You'll be provided with Slack coupon code. Use the link in the class page instructions, and I'll demonstrate what that looks like as soon as I cover this slide information, because that link takes you to the like the shopping cart that you can then put that coupon code in. So be sure that you're using that link and not just directly going to roadtoreact.com or whatever his website is. Sign up, create your account, enter the coupon code, and it'll drop that price down to 0. And then once you've signed up, then you have access to it. Like I said, you can either read it in the browser or you can do a PDF, an EPUB, or a MOBI file of it. Okay, let me switch screens now to this one so that way you can get a visual. All right, so our main school site that some of you are already familiar with, some of you aren't, is learn.codethedream.org. In the home page, you've got your class information down here, Orange Sparrow for the React front end class. And then this really huge one, Orange Starfish, is the back end. That's just because the cards wind up, filing in course. So that's why the bottom one's always really huge. You can also get to it through the navigation menu, Orange Starfish, Orange Sparrow, or if you click on classes, then we have information about past classes, but the current classes are going to be up there at the top. So Sparrow, this is what your site looks like. The sign up for access to your text that we have on week 0, which is anytime between now and the 15th, is where you'll want to go once I've shared that coupon code with you to be able to access your text. We have sort of some starter information down here as far as like things to make sure that you check over before submitting your assignment and cleaning up your code and that kind of thing. But let me show you really quick. Sign up for access to your text. This link right here, step 1, that's the one that you're going to want to use to be able to get to the right version of his shopping cart page where it has the text already added, and then you just have to plug in the coupon code. So just be sure to follow those steps. That's all you really have to do. The first couple weeks is when you're going to be setting up and, you know, kind of getting your React app started. So you don't have a lot of prep work to do this week. The coupon code, I need to talk with Tom, our senior developer, to find out from the author if he's changing the coupon code or if it'll be the same. And we need to make sure that he has enough sort of coupon code uses on his end, so that way it doesn't time out or, you know, expire or whatever, that kind of a thing. So hopefully before the weekend, I will have that coupon code sent out to you all. Excellent question, and thank you for putting that in there. Okay, I think that covers everything for Sparrow. So your Orange Starfish class is going to look like so. You'll want to work on some machine setup and to just take a look at the GitHub cookbook unless you know, in case you need it. That kind of helps give you references as far as working in your terminal and all of that kind of stuff. But the machine setup's the main one that you're going to want to take a look at because that helps you get everything set up depending on which operating system that you're working with. So Linux, Mac, so on and so forth. Windows. John McGarvey has been a long time volunteer with us, and he is always super helpful if you run into any issues with your machine setup. So if you've got problems early on, you're getting errors, something's not working, then please feel free to use those Slack channels and or let me know, hey, I need John's help and I can help get the two of you connected so that way you can be up and running in time for the start of class. And then your lessons actually start on there. For both of the classes, you just click on your lesson, it reroutes you to whatever that lesson topic is, covers, sort of highlights what you'll be learning in that section. These are the links to your team treehouse lessons, and then you'll have links for your assignments here and here. The mindset assignments won't start until week 2, so you don't have any mindset assignment work for the first week. But let me show you what it looks like for the second week. For the second week, then we just have your coding assignments here. Mindset assignment is here. You click the link and it just reroutes to a page where you can watch the little video, read the couple of paragraphs that we have up, think about the questions, and then you'll answer those questions in the form. Okay, questions about your learn.codethedream.org site or anything that you need me to show again? Okay. All right, so then let me go ahead and, oh, sorry, question. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. So are we individually signed in to the website?
No, there is no kind of sign in or login or anything for the website at all. Learn.codethedream.org. Anybody can be able to access that. For the Team Treehouse materials, you will be logged in for your Team Treehouse materials. And for the Robin Warwick, the Road to React text, you'll need to be signed in to your account for that one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Robel. And is it Robel or Robel?
The first one, Robel.
Robel. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I always try and get people's names right, and I hate it if I get it wrong. So please correct me. I will never be offended if I mispronounce your name. Please correct me. Okay, so let's see here. Where is it? Road to React. Let me just go ahead and pop into here. I don't believe you'll have this option as far as like which text you want to do, because you'll just have the one text that you'll download and use. Has a quick little introduction there, some onboarding information that kind of helps with here's how you can reach the author if need be. Book download option is here, so you can either download the PDF, the EPUB, the MOBI. Book online is where if you want to just use it online, you'll want to take a look at. So, you know, introduction to his book, React fundamentals, and then it breaks it down, Hello React. So I think like your lesson 1, then you'll cover the Hello React, the requirements, the project setup. It'll feel like a lot because when you're looking at it, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is what, like a 20-page, 30-page textbook chapter, right? It's not really like that. it gives you a good overview of whatever the topic is, and then you can kind of work through the exercises. So for the React class, you're going to be building 2 apps. There's a blog app that the text kind of walks you through building, and that's what these exercises have you do, is it builds this blog site. You do not have to submit any of your work that you're doing for the blog site that you're building through the text. The assignment that we give you that is your final project that you build throughout the course is a to-do app, and those will be the ones that you'll submit the pull requests for those. Just wanted to make that apparent to everybody. Questions about Road to React Text for anybody that's taking the Sparrow class? Good, okay. And then Treehouse materials. So this is what the dashboard looks like. You won't have quite as many options because I've got admin, so I've got like the org and workspace and that kind of a thing. But basically the dashboard for it will just be welcome to Ruby on Rails. You won't need to join the track because you'll already be assigned to it. And it just gives you the breakdown as far as what those lessons look like. So SQL basics, it'll let you know how long the whole SQL basics course is. And then when you scroll down, it'll show you a breakdown of like, okay, data and databases in SQL, and here are the various videos. Here are, little code along assignments or comprehension quizzes. And then the next section of this 173-minute course is getting data from a database. So here are the steps for that. These are videos to watch. This is a code alongside. This is a comprehension question, that kind of a thing. If you want to download any of the material, let me go ahead and just kind of start one. You'll go to the download section of that particular video. You have to go video by video, unfortunately. And then you can just download either the standard definition, high definition, or the video transcript. So you just click on that particular one. Whoa, that's really loud. And then just right click and do save video as, and that way you can save it to your hard drive. Okay. Questions about the treehouse, how it looks, layout, anything like that? Good. Okay. We'll keep on keeping on. So that covers all of your materials. Let me jump back to here and we'll start talking about assignments next. GitHub is what both classes use for the duration of the course. Starfish, you'll have separate repos that you use for Ruby on Rails. So like for your SQL module, I think it's one particular repo that you use just for the SQL module. And then when you start jumping into Rails and testing, then I think there are separate repos that you're forking and working in for those. So you'll have different repositories that you're directed to depending on where you're at in the course, but all of them will be GitHub repositories that you fork initially and then do your work in, keep a copy of it locally, and then send us your pull request for the work that you did on it. Sparrow, I believe it's fork the main repo to start, and then you just work and build on it throughout. So there won't be like multiple repos within the Code the Dream School GitHub account that you're going to. Mindset starts week 2, and then you'll submit using Squibby 2.0. So let me give you visuals on these real quick now. Okay, so GitHub, Code the Dream React Sparrow is going to be the main repository for the Sparrow class. And then we've got your wiki set up over here. So this is a copy of the same thing that's on that learn.codethedream.org site for Sparrow. As far as your breakdown, these link you back to learn.codethedream.org website, or link you to the information pages on that particular coding assignment. So if you were to take a look at the particular coding assignments, which are also available in the menu through here, it'll be what it's going to be covering, and then it goes through step by step for your instructions. Open this particular file, make this particular adjustment to the props or to the class component or blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So it walks you through everything. And then you just go ahead and do a pull request, just like you did in intro, and or if you're new to us, you just do a pull request. So that way your work for that particular lesson is on its own branch, and then you merge it back into main. Questions about Sparrow GitHub stuff at all? Good. Okay. So the first assignment that Ruby on Rails has is the backend SQL intro. And so that just kind of gives you a breakdown as far as like a practice SQL environment. Here's what to do, that kind of information. So just read through the README for that particular lesson, follow those instructions, and it walks you through from there. Any questions about that? Good. All right, so here's what's different for anybody that has taken a class with us before. You used to have to use Slack to be able to submit your assignments. Now it's just a web form. This link should be available almost everywhere. If not, then you can at the very least access it through like the pinned links on the Slack channel. But it's a very straightforward form. It just says use it to submit your things weekly. You select your name, you select which class, you select which assignment you're submitting. So like for the Ruby class, for the React class, just make sure you're selecting the right one. People who were in intro with us, a lot of times because you were so used to always selecting intro, you might accidentally select intro lesson 1-3. Just remember, you got to scroll down. But otherwise, that's good to go. Link to your assignment. So your GitHub pull request link will go in there. Your mindset response. So your little journal entry answers can go in here. If it's easier while you're looking at those questions, you can just put it in like a notepad kind of document and then just copy and paste it. You don't have to have the form up and be typing. You can save it wherever and then just cut and paste. Select the mentors whose sessions you attended that week. Or who's you worked with one-on-one. So a by appointment only mentor session counts as a mentor session for your 2 mentor sessions for the week. So if you made it to 1 scheduled weekly mentor session and then you met up with one of the mentors for a one-on-one session, then you would just add them that way. So these are some of the new data points that we're asking students to fill out each week as far as like how much of the lesson materials did you complete? So did you watch all of the Treehouse videos? Only half of them. Did you read all of your Road to React text? Only half. These things aren't to like slap your wrists or anything like that at all. We just want to know if the lesson materials are being helpful or not. Because if they aren't helpful and students aren't really referring to them and they're still doing fine in the class, then maybe we need to rethink the lesson materials we have. So any kind of feedback here is for us to be able to improve our system. It's not for us to, start, what do they say, like slapping knuckles with rulers or whatever, crazy school things that you hear about in the past. Self-reporting measure is new. We just want to have an idea if you feel comfortable with the material or not. So for your answer to that, if it's, I understand half or less of this week's topic, then it just emails me. So that way I have a reminder to follow up with you to be able to be like, hey, do you need me to help arrange a one-on-one with a mentor? Do you want me to find some more resources that, put this topic in a different light to help make it a little more understandable? So that's all of that self-reporting measure is for. If you answer half or less for how much you understand for the week and can put in some specifics, like this particular part of this lesson really confused me, then that'll help me be able to find the proper resources that you'll need. So feel free to share that information there. And then we have ratings as far as like, oh, this lesson was too easy, this lesson was too hard. So that way we can figure out if we need to adjust and maybe like move a topic forward or back a week. So that way it's more balanced and you don't have 1 week that's like, oh my gosh, I just spent 40 hours working on this 1 week and like 5 hours the next week. We want to kind of have it evenly spread out. Oh, Maria, thank you. I'm sorry. Can we start the course now, or a newer updated version will be updated on March 16th? No, you can start the course now. Make sure that you're selecting it for your particular course, because we do have like iterations of the course that we update on occasion. So be sure that you're in the Orange Sparrow or Orange Starfish website for the learn.codethedream.org site and follow along with that to make sure that you're doing the proper material that's for this most recent version of the class. But nothing should be updated between now and the 16th for your class, other than you getting access to Treehouse and that kind of thing. Okay. If you have any questions about the material, you can put it in there. The questions section will be forwarded on to your assignment reviewers so they can answer questions when they're reviewing your assignment. Additional feedback and additional needs would be anything that you have, like we need more mentor sessions, or we need mentor sessions on this particular day of the week, or anything along those lines. Additional needs would be like, hey, I had an internet connection and it's completely gone, or I need help finding a new computer. You can also share things in the additional needs, like I've got housing or food insecurities or something this week, anything like that we can talk to our resources and try and get you any help or assistance that you might need, then feel free to plug that kind of information in there. Okay, so that covers Squibby. I think that's everything for your assignments. Questions about either the new Squibby form or the GitHub and mindset assignments at all? Okay, nice. So then moving right along, mentor sessions, let me show you what those look like. So these are just straightforward Google Sheets. I need to give you authorization to be able to plug in your names, but it'll be mentor name and the time session. Don't freak out. We are going to have more than just Lynn as your mentors for the Sparrow class. I'm just still hearing from mentors and they're picking out their times based on the information you gave me in your availability forms. So don't worry, you're going to have more than one mentor in the Sparrow class. But it'll be mentor's name and then the times that they start, well, like the time their session is. So hers will be 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays, 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays. So you'll just put your names along in here to be able to sign up for the session. If all 10 spots are filled, it's okay. Go ahead and start putting your names lower is perfectly fine. Most of our mentors don't mind there being more students in their class. So it's not like, oh, shoot, that one's filled. I need to find another one. It's okay. Just go ahead and tack on to it. Questions about that? For Starfish, same kind of thing. It's the exact same format. You do have the Zoom link to be able to get onto your mentor sessions up here. And oh, that's one thing I wanted to mention. So as we get new weeks of the class, then it'll be new tabs down here. So for next week, then this one will be week of, what is it, 22nd, March 22nd. We'll keep the newest one at the front. So it'll be week of March 22nd, week of March 16th. So just be sure that you're on the right week when you're signing up for your mentor sessions, for those of you that aren't familiar with this layout already. Questions about mentor sessions or mentor session signups at all? Okay. I am still finding out from the mentors as far as who among them wants to have any by appointment only scenarios. So you may see some names added in this section here. Those will be mentors' names that you can then reach out to them by direct message on Slack and say, hey, I would like a one-on-one mentor session. I saw that you're a by appointment only mentor, and just let them know what days and times you're free. They can check their schedule and get back to you as far as when the two of you can coordinate to meet on a call together. Questions about by appointment only? Okay, nice. All right, rolling right along. Oh, sorry, for the mentor sessions, let me go back a second. I just wanted to be sure to mention. Bring your questions to your sessions. So as you're working through your lesson materials and your coding assignments, then just keep a written notepad, keep a document on your computer somewhere, wherever it's handy to jot down questions. Bring those to your mentor sessions, because there's nothing more frustrating to a mentor than they get on a session and everybody's just quiet and nobody has any questions, even though everybody has questions. So be sure to bring those with you and feel free to jump right in as soon as the session starts with, here are my questions. Mentors typically like to check to see where everybody's at. So that way, if nobody's started the assignment yet, then they know that they can gear their lesson more towards, okay, let's review last week, or let's preview the upcoming week. So they might kind of change things around based on whether or not where you all are at in the process of that particular lesson for the week. They're not doing it to, give you any kind of reprimands or anything like that. They just need to know so that way they can accommodate how they're instructing. I think that covers everything for sessions. Anything on that? Okay, good. All right, community Slack channels. So you've got class name announcements and class name discussion as your channels, the primary channels that you'll be in. Discussion is more for getting to know each other and getting help and talking about the topics. And then announcements are more just like the helpful links, announcements that go out on Mondays and Wednesdays or other times, as far as like, hey, we're going to have such and such. Anybody who wants to attend can. We also do periodic check-ins. It's just a quick little emoji check-in where it'll be like, give us a thumbs up, thumbs down about if you're liking class, if things are going well, or if you're struggling at all. And it's just so that way we can kind of find out if there's anybody that we need to be able to get more support and assistance to. If you don't feel comfortable answering on there, but you've seen that the check-in went up on the post and you don't want to put an emoji up, that's fine. If there's something that you need, then just message me. It's perfectly fine to just reach out to me, either email or Slack, and be like, hey, I saw the check-in. I'm really struggling. Can we talk? I have no problem with that whatsoever. All right, let me give you a visual on Slack. Hold on, let me just pull it over so that way I can get it to the right page. And then I will put it back up there so that way you can see. Okay. I have like 18,000 channels because of all the classes. So I need to kind of pare it down a little bit more. Okay. All right. Bringing this back over. Okay, so this is what the Slack interface looks like for desktop. They also have mobile apps, so that way you can access it easily if you need or want to on a mobile phone or on a tablet or whatever. Your class channels will be, oh, thanks, Danielle. If you have notifications turned on, they'll pop up in the corner like that. Announcements will be here. I have not pinned it yet, but it'll be a bright yellow and it'll have all of your links in there. Let me show you what it looks like with the Canary class, just so you can see. Let me go to pinned. As the messages roll on, you can always refer back to anything that I've pinned to the channel by clicking up here where it says pinned, and then just click on it. So this is what you'll see as one of the first posts on that announcements channel for Sparrow and for Starfish. And it'll be linked to your course curriculum page, linked to student resources, linked to your textbook, linked to sign up sheet, linked to your sessions. All of those helpful things will all be there for the Ruby on Rails class. And it'll be like linked to your Treehouse, Team Treehouse login page, that kind of stuff. So all of that will already be in your channels as you get added onto those. And then Sparrow discussion will be the one where you can introduce yourselves, talk amongst yourselves, post questions that you have, that kind of a thing. We are starting something new that we started out with the intro class that started in January, and it's called an outlet channel. So we've got an advanced outlet channel. It'll be the one advanced outlet channel for both the Ruby on Rails and the React class students. It'll predominantly just be students in there. There might be one mentor that would like to facilitate, giving you all an outlet to be able to say, oh, I'm so frustrated with code this week, or, I was really excited about something great I did. It's just an opportunity for you to be able to kind of like vent those feelings of frustration in a safe space. So feel free to share anything that you want to in that channel. It's just going to be students and then like one mentor that is just kind of fostering this sort of supportive, healthy environment where you can just let off steam or whatever you want to do. I'm on the channels, but I'm not like policing it or anything like that. So it's just because somebody had to build the channel, and so I'm there. But the general rules are just be open and honest, considerate of each other's feelings, be respectful of each other and supportive, think before you speak. So is what you're about to say true, helpful, important, necessary, and kind? Use that as a frame of reference for any other interactions that you have throughout your course as well. If you see something, say something. If anybody's doing any kind of like harassment, discrimination, anything like that, then please either speak up on behalf of the person that's being victimized and or just remind each other, hey, this is supposed to be a safe space, use kind words, that kind of a thing. Reach out to me if needed. I am always here for anything that you need. So same kind of thing with Starfish, Starfish announcements, Starfish discussion. Everybody will be added to a general channel too, and that's just for Code the Dream to be able to post whenever we have like events or cancel like closings for holidays or things like that. And then you'll also all be in an all student convo channel, which is all students current and past that are in there. And so feel free to communicate with one another that way. And I think that covers everything with Slack. Your profile, you can set up like so. And so for your display name is where I encourage everybody to just put whatever class you're currently in parentheses in your display name there. So that way I know who you are and which class you're with. So I think that covers everything there. You can put up a picture if you want to. You don't have to, whatever you feel like doing. Questions about Slack? Okay, nice. If anybody's new to any of these technologies, like you've never used Slack before, you've never used Treehouse before, and you want to meet for just like a quick tour of it at all, then feel free to just let me know and I can hop on a call with you and kind of help you learn what the interface is doing and how to get around. All right, so that covers community. And then final project. So 3 to 4 weeks for Starfish. The last 3 to 4 weeks for Starfish is when you'll be building out your projects, and then throughout the class for Sparrow. Presentation nights are typically either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday after the last day of class. So it'll be July 13th, 14th, 15th will be presentation nights. When we get closer to it, then I'll post and say, hey, what's a good time for everybody? And I just try and pick times where the majority of the students can make it. I think that covers it. Questions, anything about the class so far? And then I'm just going to dig into culture, and once culture's done, then we'll be able to talk next steps and questions. Okay, good. All right. So as you probably suspected from our mission statement at the very beginning, we really want to have a very safe community where everybody's treated with dignity and respect. So I just like to emphasize this and remind everybody whenever we have orientations that we're really committed to a discrimination-free, harassment-free environment. Everybody's coming from different backgrounds. Some might have rough backgrounds, some might have easy backgrounds. You know, whatever the case is true for you, like we want everybody to be able to come together, support one another, encourage one another. So if there is any kind of discriminatory or harassing behavior that's going on, please make me aware of it, because we need to address it and make sure that that behavior is acknowledged, corrected, and if somebody is not going to cooperate and be a part of our culture of acceptance and love and support, then they will be asked to leave. So please keep that in mind and just be very respectful. We're trying to help you build your professional persona. And obviously every organization has an HR department that does not tolerate any kind of discrimination or harassment. So just start now. Everybody just be nice and love one another and support and encourage one another. So that covers that. We do have a emergency protocol situation in place. It's a little weird since we're all remote. But we did need to have something in place. So if, COVID happens, so if somebody's having breathing difficulties on a call, or somebody's having a heart attack or a panic attack or anything like that, then we've made mentors aware of what the protocol is. The first priority is for either them or for them to direct a student to call 911, because the 911 operator will be able to help direct you with, like, can you pay attention to see if they're still breathing? Can you talk to them to keep them conscious? Anything like that. And then immediately after that happens, then the mentor should contact a member of Code the Dream staff. We have 2 designated members for them to be able to contact. So that way we can then get involved and help direct 911 services to the person who needs help or anything like that. So if there's an emergency that happens on your mentor session call, then just be helpful and supportive. If there's something that you can do to help the situation, please do so. If it makes you uncomfortable, or that you're just like needing to step away from it, or whatever the case may be, then feel free to just jump off the call, make me aware that there was an emergency that happened, and we can follow up later, that kind of a situation. But we haven't really had any emergencies, and hopefully we never will, but it's always good to plan for the worst and hope for the best. Okay, learning tips: be inclusive, judgment-free zone. Everybody's coming from a range of background and experience levels. Think before you speak, like I had mentioned about earlier in that advanced outlet channel. Don't be afraid to ask your questions. I can guarantee you, for every person that has a question, there are at least 2 more people in your class that have had the exact same question. If you start to fall behind, go ahead and ask for help early. Either try and set up one-on-ones, or communicate to me and be like, hey, this is what's going on with me right now. Can I, what are my options? And that way we can talk it through and make sure that you don't lose traction with your learning. Note your questions so that way you can bring them to your mentor sessions. If you feel like you're underprepared or too far behind, don't skip a mentor session, because they might still cover something that will be helpful to you when you get to that point. So even if they're covering topics for next week or the week after, because you're a couple weeks behind, still go to the mentor session, because you might see something that either helps you with something that's blocking you currently. Since all of the weeks sort of build on each other, then there might be some kind of review that helps pieces click into place for you. Or when you get to that week, then you'll be like, oh yeah, they talked about that in that session. I need to do this. So still participate in your mentor sessions, even if you're behind or ahead. Make a plan for yourself as far as like sort of structure for when you'll study and cover things. Make sure that you've got like a quiet place to be able to focus. Don't wait to get help. You're not limited to the mentor sessions, so you're welcome to get together for study sessions. And just be sure that you're understanding the material each week, because the lessons build on each other. So that's the big thing, is make sure that you feel comfortable with what's going on. You might not have it 100%, but things will, fall into place the more you do, and just make sure that you have a pretty good understanding of what it is before you kind of start into tackling the next week. Okay, so next steps, just watch for Treehouse invitations if you're new, watch for Slack workspace invitation if you're new. If you haven't set up a GitHub account, do so. Preview the class website. For Starfish, you'll want to go ahead and take a look through that preparing for class, setting up your environment. For Sparrow, get the text once I share that coupon code with you, and get ready to have fun, work hard, learn, and fire away with those questions, folks. After class, then you'll submit your final projects and proceed to practicum or apply for the apprenticeship. Practicum will start the Monday after your class ends. And like I said, we'll go into more details about the practicum as we get further into the class. If you need any help, mentors, each other, myself or Lori are also reachable if you need anything for class coordination and programs. All right, hit me with your questions. Or am I just that good? Did I cover everything? Yes, Quinasia, what you got?
So in regards to that internship, what are the best ways to prepare for it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like getting a good handle of what all of your curriculum content is, so really understand your lessons and get a good solid foundation in your tech stack. So for the Ruby on Rails class, make sure that you're comfortable with how to write in SQL and how all of those data points work with each other, how to structure your data in the most logical format for your situation, for the project that you're working on. For React, really dig in and understand all of those fundamentals as far as like, what is a class component? How does it work within the React framework? Make sure that you're comfortable on your JavaScript skills, those kind of things. So just get a good solid foundation throughout the class. For the practicum portion, the main thing we want to focus on in the practicum is that you get comfortable with merge conflicts. So when you have multiple people working on a team together, then this person will be working on this particular snippet of code or particular file within the file structure for your code, and they'll have to merge it back while somebody else is working on this little part. And so when everybody merges back in, you want to make sure that they aren't overwriting somebody else's code. So practicum gives you a chance to be able to work through that. As well as just get used to collaborating and like what that workflow looks like, because it's very different. When you're in classes, you're just doing your own thing. You've got tunnel vision. You're making sure that you're understanding your material. But practicum, we want you to be able to see the other people on your project. We want you to be communicating and collaborating well with them. So you'll want to really focus on making sure that you're informing, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is where I'm at with my task that we've assigned me. This is where I'm hitting blockers, and just be really communicative with each other. Excellent question. What other questions we have? Yeah, Maria, go ahead and unmute.
I had another question about the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, like, how long does it last if we were to, get accepted into it? And if the compensation is more like a stipend, or is it like hourly/salary pay?
Excellent questions. So for the apprenticeship, it is a stipend pay. I think I can't remember, it's either 2,000 or 2,500 a month. I can't remember for sure. So it's definitely not really enough to live off of unless you're a really amazing budgeter and have a really low threshold of bills and whatnot. Which, if that's the case, then you need to share your secrets with everybody on how to keep your monthly expenses down. But yeah, so it's a stipend. It is a 40-hour-a-week commitment. So it's like having a full-time job, even though it's only on a stipend amount, and you're paid monthly for it. And then the commitment for it is we expect you to stay on board with us for at least 6 to 9 months. At the 9-month mark is when we start being more proactive with helping you through the job search process. And then by the end of the year, then you would have the option to either be like, hey, I need to apprentice 1 more year. I feel like I'm not strong enough on my skills. Or you can go ahead and start job searching and go through that process. But I think the requirement is that you have to be an apprentice for at least the first 6 months. And the reason being is it takes a while to onboard somebody onto a project and get them up to speed with, okay, this is the client, this is how they have their data structured, this is where we're going with this project as far as features we need to add, bugs we need to fix, and that kind of thing. And then the whole process of working through it. So great question. Did that answer everything, or do you have other questions at all, Maria?
That's it for now. Thank you.
Okay, great. Asaya, what you got?
Yeah, like I think Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
So in relation to the apprenticeship, I think maybe I misunderstood, but if we do one cycle of apprenticeship, are we able to do another cycle, or is it just that one?
Yeah, so when you get towards the end of your apprenticeship, then the program partnership director, I can't remember the title. Anyway, somebody that handles as far as like our connections with other organizations will be coming in to kind of help support you further as far as where you want to be applying to, how you want to be applying. We'll take a look at your resume, go over your LinkedIn profiles, all those kind of details to help get you into either an entry level or a junior developer role, because you would have already had experience working on real world projects with us. So our goal is to be able to help you find where you want to go as your next step. If you feel like you're not ready for a next step and you're like, I really just want to keep working on the project that I'm working on as an apprentice and, you know, stick with this and keep learning, then you'll have that option as well. Yeah, you can go longer, but you have to at least be with the apprenticeship for a minimum of 6 months. Yeah, Quinasia, you've got your hand up. What you got for me?
All right, so when it comes to the practicum, are we able to select who we want to work with, or is it just chosen at random?
Yeah, so starting with Canary Crawfish are the last 2 React and Ruby on Rails classes that just wrapped this past week, yesterday. Yeah, wrapped yesterday. They're starting their practicum on Monday. And starting with them, we are now letting you all select who you want to be in your small group with as best as we're able. Like, we know that there might be circumstances where somebody's like, I don't really care who I work with. I'll work with anybody. Or it might be like, I want to work with these people, but these people that I've developed this bond with, like, well, this person's only available Thursday nights and this other person's only available Monday nights. So you won't be able to sync up to have a weekly group meeting. So if there's issues like that, that it might interrupt being able to have who you want on your team for the practicum, but we are letting students say, these are the people that I want to work with. And then we kind of look at your availability from there and make sure that you're with people that you want to be with for your group as best as we're able to. Great question. I'm going to answer 2 questions real quick that were in the chat. Candace had asked if there are still mentors during the practicum portion. Yes. So each small group, so it's usually 3 to 5 students in a group, and each small group will have their own dedicated mentor. And then we're also doing backup mentors for the practicum that will be familiar with all of the small group projects. So that if there's a situation of, you know, your mentor gets sick or moves or has a job change and isn't as available, then we have somebody that's already familiar with sort of the general purpose and structure of your site that can then step in. Or if one of your team members needs help with their practicum project and your mentor isn't available, then you have a backup that you can be like, hey, I need help with this particular feature I'm building. But we do want you to focus primarily on this being a student built and student organized project. So the mentors aren't going to be like, here's our lesson for the week. Let's talk about our lesson for the week. It's going to be, you all need to take a look at your lesson for the week, help each other out through any parts that confuse one another. And if there are things that don't make sense to all of you, then you can turn to your mentor and be like, hey, we were talking about this particular topic, or we ran into this issue and we thought we could solve it this way, but it didn't seem to work. Mentor, step in and help us with that. So hopefully that answers your question, Candace. Can we have access to the apprenticeship while we are on the course? Typically, no. It's very, very rare that we accept apprentices into the apprenticeship program while you're completing a course, unless you've already completed an advanced course. And even then, it's pretty rare, because if you completed React and now you're taking Ruby on Rails, if we were to accept you as a React apprentice, then you'd have 40 hours a week dedicated to a React project on the lab side, and then you'd have 20 hours a week of Ruby on Rails that you're learning. And we discourage folks from trying to learn multiple languages or multiple frameworks at the same time, because we've found that you basically just wind up not learning them as well as you could if you just focus on one. Like, there'll be things that'll get confused and mixed up and that kind of a thing. So it's just better learning experience to focus on one at a time. So it's unlikely that you will be apprenticing while you're doing a course as well. Yes, I did say that you pick around 4 people for the apprenticeship. Again, it varies The last round, I think we were able to take 6 just because we had taken on some new projects on the development shop side. That was unusual. I've never seen us take that many before. So it just depends on what projects the development shop is accepting and like where they're having people graduate onto jobs outside of Code the Dream as far as how many we can bring on. Mentor meetings are on Zoom as well. And I think that covers it. What other, oh, sorry, Maria, you've got your hand up still. Did you have another question?
Yes, I was hoping if you could describe like kind of like a day in the life of a apprentice in React.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Another question was if it's more of a like a remote apprenticeship or you have to be in person.
Yeah, it's not in person. We are completely remote. So we've got apprentices currently that are in California, Chicago. I think there's one in Texas. They're kind of all spread out. But basically you'll have particular meetings that are set up for whatever the project is that you're assigned. And this will be how you want to structure your practicum experience as well within your group. So your group needs to meet daily. It doesn't have to be synchronously. So for practicum, your group can just post in your group's Slack channel or, you know, in your Trello board or however you're keeping track of who's on what assignments kind of a thing. Daily, you'll want to say, this is what I'm working on today. I haven't hit any blockers, so I just need to keep, you know, digging away at this particular feature until I have it built, that kind of a thing. So usually the dailies are just quick updates about this is what I've done, this is what I'm working on. This is where I still have to go. This is any blockers I've hit, any, you know, problems that are keeping me from the momentum of getting my feature or my task accomplished. And then I believe projects within the development shop side also have weekly meetings, which are longer, like 1 to 2 hour meetings where they kind of take a step back and look at the whole project overview and be like, okay, let's check to see where we're at with the different features. Do we need to make any adjustments there? Is everything working with all of the various, you know, I don't know, operating systems that the clients are using? Do we need to make any adjustments to administrative or authentication or, you know, all kinds of different features? But basically you have a daily check-in, you have a weekly bigger check-in. And then throughout the work that you do on it, then you just touch base with your project lead, which is either one of our senior developers or a volunteer mentor. Most often it's one of our staff senior developers that you'll touch base with and be like, hey, I'm working on this and I don't understand this, help me, kind of thing. But hopefully that gives you a better picture. I feel like it's a little vague. It can really vary from project to project, but it's a lot of coding and a lot of research and a lot of, you know, help, I'm stuck. And that's the predominant portion of the apprenticeship part.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Marissa, what's your question?
Yeah, so I think I had read some stuff previously about the apprenticeship, and so I saw that it's full-time. And so I was just wondering, I guess, do some of the apprentices have something on the side that they do? I'm assuming you wouldn't be able to have a full-time job. I guess what are some things that they do to like generate income, or
Yeah.
hours set?
So usually it's either you know, I'm not 100% sure because I don't know for our current apprentices what their circumstances are like. But so it just really kind of depends on the case by case. But I know there are a number of them that have at least part-time jobs, sometimes full-time jobs outside of it, but the hours are flexible for the apprenticeship. So when you are brought onto the project, then they'll talk with you as far as like, okay, if you already have a job that's paying the bills that you have to work 8 to 4 every day, then let's see as far as, you know, what times you'll be working on things. I know that there has to at least be a little bit of an overlap with like the 9 to 5 time frame, just because the majority of the senior developers are East Coast, although I think we do have one in Chicago and one in California. But you'll want to have at least some overlap, so that way if you're hitting any problems, then you know you've got an overlap time available to be able to talk to your project lead to help clear any of those blockers. But you should have some flexibility as far as how that works for what hours you're working on apprenticeship work versus what hours you're working to be able to pay your bills. And you keep track of your hours through like time clock system that's web-based. And the reason that we clock your hours and anticipate that it will be about 40 hours a week that you're working is because we do bill the clients. And so they need to know as far as like, hey, this person's worked on your project for this amount of time. That's why you're being charged this particular amount. Does that help make things a little bit clearer?
Yeah, that helps. That helps a lot. I did have a follow-up question too.
Yeah.
So if we're local in the area,
Mhm.
do we come into the office? Is there a hybrid or is it all remote? Just curious to hear about that.
Yeah, right now it's hybrid. I think they did recently open up the offices. I'm strictly remote, so I'm not 100% on this information. But once COVID numbers are down, if they haven't already opened offices, then we do have offices available. There's one that's in Frontier, which is in like the RTP area. It's, just southwest of the airport, that kind of vicinity. Of Raleigh-Durham Airport, just as a frame of reference. And then we also have one that's in downtown Durham, in the American Underground building. So that gives you some ideas as far as like places in the triangle that you can physically go to, assuming that offices are open, once COVID numbers are low and offices are open, that you'll be able to have that as a resource. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, great. Maria, you had a question, go ahead.
Yeah, I have another question about the apprenticeship.
That's fine.
I just want to know if there was kind of like wiggle room to kind of make it part-time, or does it have to be like 40 hours?
Yeah, I think you do have the option of doing that. I think it'll depend on what what project they were anticipating putting you on and what those needs are like. But if you get approved for the apprenticeship program, like you don't apply for part-time versus full-time, you'll just apply for the apprenticeship. And if you do have a need of, hey, this needs to be part-time for me, then the CTD lab side will talk with you about that. Lucy Martinez handles all of like our HR onboarding folks kind of stuff. So she would be the person that you'd talk to about, I know you accepted me as an apprentice, but I can only do part-time. How does that work?
Okay. And
Yeah.
can you also work on the weekends by any chance?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, you should be able to do work on the weekends. I don't know that you'll have like guaranteed access to mentors on the weekends necessarily, but you can definitely keep working on whatever task they've assigned you throughout the weekend. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Quinasia, what's your question?
You mentioned that the offices might be open. If they are open, it would be possible if we could use it as like a study space.
Yes. Yeah,
for, like, group
absolutely.
meetings?
Yeah, that should not be a problem. I'll confirm with Lori this week to find out where we're at with that, like if offices are open or if they aren't. And if you need any kind of like, I don't know, swipe cards or pass keys or anything like that to be able to get into the buildings at all. So I'll find out those details from her. So that way anybody that is local, if you want to get into the offices to be able to have a quiet space to study and work, then you should be able to have access to that. I don't think there's any issue there. Great question. Any other questions at all? All right. Well, I'm sorry we ran a little bit longer than I was intending to, but I hope I answered some questions for you at least, and put your mind at ease. We will have more information about practicum and more information about apprenticeship as we get further into your class. So if anything's changed where either of those are concerned, then you'll be updated with that as well. Usually I think it's like around week 10 or 12 of the individual portion of your class that we have that. And I think that's everything. Feel free to email me or Slack me if you have any questions. Keep an eye out on your email for anything that's going to be coming your way if you're new and or getting reestablished if need be. And yeah, that's everything. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.